Hello. I'm just sitting here and as soon as I'm about to hit record, the neighborhood lawnmowers go on. And for a lot of you, that would not be the time to do a transmission, to record, to do any of those things, right? Because it needs to be perfect. It needs to be quiet. It needs to be the right field, the right moment. Well, I guess today we are just busting all of those myths out of the water. Now, here's what I know. Firstly, hi, it's Stace, Source Conscious Channel. And if you don't know me or you haven't seen, if you haven't worked with me or seen any of my uploads, my videos, my transmissions, whatever label you want to give them, I don't care. Here's the deal, right? I am living my multidimensional life in every moment. So I'm not moving to a quiet space. I'm not spending 10, 15 minutes, an hour meditating, preparing the field. Although, if you are, great, you do you. And once upon a time, actually, no, that would be a lie. Meditation, whilst amazing, in a traditional sense, just never stuck for me. Just like tarot cards, never stuck for me. They're all just permission slips, right? To play, to trust, to allow the source that is you to flow freely. To be trusted, to be surrendered to be played with, to be recognized. So whatever your permission slips are, whatever your gift is, whatever tools you're using, whatever labels you're placing upon yourself, and I had plenty. I had plenty of opportunities to twist myself into a pretzel, to follow other people's guidelines, their examples, their demonstrations of what it was to be a channel, of what it was to be psychic, of what it was to be all the things, right? And I'm sure you have too. And maybe you're still doing it, and maybe you're not. And maybe you're doing it sometimes, and maybe you're not. Because that's the perfection of this experience, isn't it? It's that we actually didn't come here to not be the human experience, to not have the human experience. We didn't come to transcend the human experience. What? I hear you say? What do you mean we're not here to transcend the human experience? Surely I'm joking. No, I'm not, my loves. You are not here to transcend the human experience. You are here to bring the divine nature, the source of all that is, your eternal, limitless, boundless beingness, and land it in form, in action, the formless into the form. That's what we came for. Because we know we can be our divinity, our divine nature, our unconditional love, the ease, the bliss that is us, for eternity, forever and ever and ever. That which you are is which you are. That will never change. Do you actually think that the narrative that we came here to transcend the human, to fix the human. To levitate out of the body, to expand beyond these limitations. All the ways, right? To fix, to heal. And don't get me wrong, guys. I've absolutely played there. With absolute belief that there was something to fix, that there was something to heal, that it was an onion, layer upon layer upon layer, and just when you thought you'd finished, there was another layer. All of that programming, all of those ways just to simply not allow the totality of what you are, to simply not remember the ease with which you are, to simply not unify yourself with all that is, to simply stay in fear, in separation from the boogeyman outside of you. Well, guess what? It's kind of inside of you, as everything is. And you designed that boogeyman. You designed it. This whole experience. And that doesn't mean that there's not suffering. That doesn't mean that shit happens. Shit doesn't happen. Shit happens. We all know shit happens. But while you continue to perceive it, anything as less than that which you'd prefer, that which you are worthy of, that which you are satisfied with. Because here's the thing, right? Every subject is whole and complete. You have a perceived problem, and in the minute of the recognition of that problem, the solution is also there. Two ends of the same stick. And the only reason that you either stay at the problem or discover the solution is simply how much attachment you have to holding on to the perceived problem. Whatever that is. Because they're both there, existing in the one moment, because everything is whole. So how does that help you? Full disclaimer, I spent years as a healer, as a teacher, as a student, as a broken one, as somebody that needed fixing, as somebody that didn't have the answers were outside of me, that just wasn't good enough as I was, all the ways, right? And I think that's kind of beautiful, because honestly, can you truly know what you desire until you know that you don't? In this reality, in this paradigm? Because if everything exists in wholeness, if everything is complete immediately, and it's only your attention that dictates which part of that completeness you experience, the length of time that you spent running around in your lostness, in your separateness, in your trauma, in your mud, in your sewage, in your not enoughness, in the program, in the game, in the pattern. Well, that's like an arrow, right? Because you're whole and complete always, but your attention, under the observer effect, it isn't real till you observe it. So what are you observing? The magic and the miracles, or the crud, because you do get to choose. Now, I'm not saying that your physical reality is going to transform before your very eyes, although it probably could. If you were completely open, flowing, embodied, embedded in the totality of your now in this beautiful human vessel, and just simply loving life for what it is by your design and what you're giving your intention and attention to. But what I'm saying is, if something is perfect, and I truly believe all is, and yes, I can already hear you pushing against, having resistance to that. But here's the kicker. Perfect simply means to complete, to finish. It doesn't mean what we've been told it means. Most of the English words that you use actually don't truly mean what we've been told they mean. They've just been simplified, changed and bastardized. Almost like a shell of their original selves, their original meaning, their original power. And we could jump up and down at the injustice of that. Or we could simply see the reflection in us. Because everything in the macrocosm is a magnification of the microcosm, and you are the microcosm having the experience of the macrocosm, and simultaneously the macrocosm having an experience in the microcosm, which is this human. Inside out and outside in. And isn't that quite beautiful? That you can find yourself everywhere you look, if you're willing. And if you find yourself everywhere you look, if you're willing, then doesn't everything just simply collapse into the oneness of all? If you can truly recognize and realize the totality of who you are, who everybody else is, and the power that that totality holds. For it is the essence of all living beings. It is the life force that runs through all living things. The most powerful energy that cannot die, but can simply change forms. That's the truth of your totality. That's the truth of what's running inside these human vehicles, this body that we're so attached to, this mind that can create such great suffering in its unwillingness to move beyond the bounds of that which it knows, and simply by design. A pattern recognition machine. And if you've come to a point in your life where you are desiring change, or just curious about what could be, and then you have the goal to name it, to claim it, to announce it to yourself, to the world, to whisper it to one single other, to spell it out into the world through the passageway that is uniquely you, just like your fingerprint, your voice, the activation of your power, formless into form, magic made manifest. And then next thing you know, after that declaration, after that claiming of that newness, of that iteration of your magic, all of a sudden it feels like every barrier that could be is. And now we've been trained to see that if we're in flow, then it's easy. So if there's an obstacle, it must not be aligned. And we should turn back, jump past. Warning, Will Robinson. But hang on a minute. I remember that belief leading for a long time. And it had a lot of power. Until I realized the actual function of the mind and the reticular activating system and what was actually at play, which was survival. Not fun, not expansion, not limitless, boundless cosmic you, but how to belong in the chosen human family, whether by blood or not, and how to survive, how to just simply wake up every day and do what you've been doing, the familiar. So if you've recently, as I know many have, especially through this double eclipse month of August, stepped forth, claimed the next iteration of you in form, claimed your power, claimed your sovereignty, claimed your love, or even just became curious and pondered about what's actually possible for you, what's actually possible for the world, what magic and miracles can you get up to today, what's your mission, your purpose, your vision. And then shit got real. Distraction came in, scrolling came in, procrastination came in, all the reasons why that was not a good idea. All the reasons. Or doors seemed to close. I wonder, could it be that it's simply just your mind keeping you safe, keeping you in the familiar? Because until it knows, through your demonstration, that you've got your back, that you know your power, your eternal nature, your love, your strength, your creativity, your intelligence. Until that mind knows that higher power that is you, that runs through every cell, in human action and expression, has your back, then you'll experience red flags loudly. And not because it's a no, but simply because it's different, because it's unfamiliar, and not because the universe hates you or you suck or the mind's a horrible thing or this human life is so hard. But when you claim your expansion, your integration, your power, your love, then with all things whole, you're going to be shown all the ways in which you disallow that. Currently playing. You're going to be given all the opportunities to have your own back, to show yourself that you can. And not only can you, but it truly is what you desire, and you will. Yes? Because if you only came for the experience, how could you possibly be on the wrong path? Now, you could definitely be on a path that was physically or mentally less than uplifting or less than full of ease or joy or whatever else. But guys, we came to get our hands dirty. We came for the third dimensional. We came for the experience of separate self. The light and the shadow. We came for both of them. As my ones like to say, you came to get your hands dirty, so play. Because in your totality and your truth, when you know your true power, which is unconditional love, that does not judge, that does not limit, that does not restrict, that does not fragment itself, and also does not place itself above, does not have levels or labels. It's only your mind that needs the labels, guys. It's only the identification with something that's familiar that needs to belong, something that fits a program that you were taught as a child was important. And it's usually just what your parents were taught and what their parents taught them. And if it's actually that simple, if you could actually just choose to move into a state of allowance, to see through, realize, and to embrace all that is, regardless of the story, regardless of the wrongness. Because I am telling you, there is gold in that dirt. There is an expansion. Every bit of resistance, you've had all of that holding on. When you actually let that go, even look at the ease of this. You're holding on, okay? So here's your fist. It's clenched. Whether that's a, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, or shaking your fist at something in the world, somebody in the world. If you would just stop doing that, then I'd be okay. If that would just change, then I would be okay. All of the power going outside of you. So this surface area, right? This fist. And while you're clenching and in resisting, what you resist persists. So it's why it doesn't actually go anywhere, because your attention is on it. And the life force runs through you for your reality, for your lived experience. Now, if you were just simply, so these are your options. These are the size of your options. If you were just to let go, look how much bigger your world becomes. Movement, space, and a landing zone, yes? There's so much more freedom. and simply letting go. And letting go isn't for others. It's for you. It's creating space. It's creating breath. Because when you're holding on to someone or something out of that separation of self, that micro view, that tiny fractured lens of your own lived experience, because actually nobody's even hearing the words you're saying in the same way that you're speaking them. What they're picking up on is a field, is an energy, is a vibration, is a frequency, which comes back to your intention, your allowance, your surrender. And here's the kicker. Surrendering is the biggest action any of us can take. And it's not passive at all. It's going to take every bit of your will, every bit of your love, every bit of your genius. Because surrendering to the mind is death. Death of the known. Death of the character. Death of the story. But I can tell you, through lived experience, that you will never feel true freedom until you do. And it's not a one-time gig, although it can be. But usually, because we're in the bodies, it will be something that you choose to do over and over and over again. Although it doesn't need to be. But the minds can be stubborn, and our attachment to our character can be extremely strong. Or to our label, whatever makes us feel special, right? So, so here I am, lawn's being mowed, no clue, what wants to be said, what's going to be said. And this is my truth. This is formless into form. I'm living it. This is heaven on earth. Peace in the mind, love in the heart, and breath in the lungs. That's the Trinity for me. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In unison. All the time. Which means what? Which means unconditional love. Which means the highest vibrational frequency of unconditional love. It means the void, where all potentialities and all possibilities exist. It means surrender, total. And it means permission. Permission to every single human on this planet to be exactly as they are, where they are, when they are, And why is that? Even in their expression of what some would call evil. And that is because that's not my job. My job is to hold the vision of the new earth. That's what my NDE gifted me. The true landing of my multidimensional self into form. Of the allowance and recognition of the simultaneous existence of all, in body, in mind. No part of me that needed to be fixed, no part of me that needed to be healed, no part of me that needed to be shunned. Just an allowance and a divine knowing that all is well in my world and that all is perfect, and that the most important thing I can do is love myself wholly, solely, and completely, and allow. Because everywhere I go, there I am. And the longest relationship I'll ever have is that with myself. So if you get that right, if you get that loving, compassionate, joyful, easeful gratitude, then you can get that for everyone else in your life too. If you can forgive yourself for all of your nuances, then that frequency can be held for anyone and everyone. And not because they're doing anything wrong, although in human terms they may be, but because just like you, they too are an eternal soul, simply having a human experience that, quite frankly, you know nothing about. So I leave you with this resonance as I play in the void of all that is, wholly, solely, completely, in my totality. Do not listen to the words, my loves, but trust your feelings. Trust the sensations of your body. The words are second. It is the void that speaks. It is the void where the magic and miracles, possibilities and potentials exist. And this is what I hold. Correction. Language. I do not hold the void. I am the void. I have been corrected. So be your void. Be the void. Open to the expanse of the limitless possibility of you. And go play. Alrighty. That's Stace. And until next time, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, umbale sikanawa subruwi sikanamada subruwa sikanamada subruwi sikanamala subruwi subruwi sikanama subruwa sikane subruwa sikanamada subruwi sikanama umbale sikanamada subruwi subruwa sikanamada subruwi sikanama umbe sikanama sikanama subruwi sikanama ele subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanamada usabale sikanamada subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanamada subruwi sikanama umbale sikanama. All right, guys. And for now, we're complete. Ciao.